Hi, how are you? Enrique here with First West Financial for the First Time Buyer channel. Today, we have a brand new video. It's part one of a series of two videos that will answer the question, what are the steps to purchase a home? So we're gonna cover some ground this week on this video, and then next week we're gonna follow up with the second part of how to purchase a home. So today we wanna talk to you a little bit about the difficulty or the easiness to buy a home. A lot of people find the experience of buying a home difficult. Others, not so much. And a lot of it has to do with knowledge and information and lining up with the right people to help you become a homeowner. That's the reason why we want to do this series of videos, is to give you tips and tricks and ideas on how to make this experience better. I've had people that have gone through the process with a certain realtor or certain lender, and they tell me, Enrique, I never want to go through that again. And then I have other people that just love the process and they love the idea of purchasing a home. So we're going to cover that. We're going to be very specific about a lot of the things we're going to talk about today. So hopefully you will find this video interesting. So first of all, you have to know that in order to buy a home, there is a process. Even though as a homeowner, when you're going through it, you don't see a lot of the rhyme or reason of what is happening, there are some very, very specific steps that are covered that will basically walk you through the process of, this is how you buy a home. And when you go through those steps and you go through those systematically, you're gonna understand better, what is next. So the first thing I wanna tell you is, everybody's gonna tell you the first step is to get pre-qualified. But I personally think that you gotta go a little further back. Before you get pre-qualified, one of the things I always tell people is find your why. First, you need to find out what is the reason that you want to purchase a home. Is it because everybody tells you you need to buy a home? Is it for tax reasons? Is it because you want to stop paying rent? You want to stop throwing money away? You want maybe a larger space for your family, maybe a safer place? There's a lot of reasons, all of them good. Now, I'll be the very first one to tell you, I'm a firm believer that there are some people who probably don't need to purchase a home. There are some people where, for whatever reason, for whatever circumstances, maybe renting at this very time in life may be better. If you have a lot of debt, if you have issues with income, consistency of income, if you haven't really gotten to a point in your life where you're ready to make that commitment to one place, maybe owning is not for you. So I don't want you to get railroaded into thinking, I gotta buy a home because everybody says I need to buy a home. The truth is, it's different for everybody. So the first thing I would tell you is sit down with a piece of paper and write down your why. Why do you want to buy a home? Why do you want to become a homeowner? And if you don't know right away, then that should give you a little pause and then think about it. Write it down, and then once you find that why, you're going to learn that you're going to be more motivated to walk through the process. The second thing that I can tell you is that before you get pre-qualified, we want you to do some homework as to who is going to help you get qualified for a loan. You're gonna have the option to go with a mortgage broker. You're gonna have the option to go with an internet type outfit bank, or you can walk into your financial institution and get a loan there. Now, personally, I am a mortgage broker, so I'm very biased about why mortgage brokers are better. So I will cover that last. The first option would be to go on the internet. If you go on the internet, all you have to do is type mortgage loans. You're gonna get thousands and hundreds of links. Some of those outfits are reputable, some of them may not be, some of them have good reviews, some don't. So if you are a self-starter, if you can do things on your own, if you already know how the process works, if you don't need any hand-holding or any one-on-one interaction with someone, internet outfits may be a good option for you. Are they going to save you money? Not necessarily. We are finding out that mortgage brokers probably have even better rates at some of the internet outfits. But for a lot of people that are self-sufficient, that's what they want to do. So if you're going to go that route, I really recommend that you obviously know what you're doing, because you're not going to know who you're dealing with. Sometimes you're going to be talking to one person or another. And in many cases, you're not going to talk to anyone. You're going to do everything through email and internet. So it's not for everybody. The second choice would be to go to your institution, to your bank, traditional banks like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America. A lot of people think that because they have a relationship with that bank, that because they have a bank account, that because they bank there, the bank is going to give them a better deal. The truth is, That is not necessarily the case. The lending mortgage division for most banks tends to be completely separate from the depository division. So just because you make a deposit and you know the lady at the counter, that doesn't really mean anything to that bank. They're going to put you with a loan officer, typically someone who is remotely at a call center or at a processing center, and they're going to work with you that way. So in a way, you lose some of the one-on-one touch in most cases. I'm generalizing, but in most cases. What I found is the feedback that we get is that if you're gonna do business with your bank, that's okay. They're obviously large institutions, they know what they're doing, but don't be deceived in thinking that, oh, well, I'm gonna get a better deal, or because they already know me, they already have all my paperwork. Nothing can be further from the truth. So that leaves us with independent mortgage brokers or independent bankers. That's what we do. One of the advantages of dealing with a broker is that unlike dealing with your bank or with an internet outfit, we have the ability to shop for you. So when we pre-qualify you, we look at your particular situation and we determine what is the best program for you. And then we go to work and we check different banks, we check different institutions, wholesale banks, large reputable institutions that lend a lot of money, and we try to get the best possible deal for you, typically with no fees or whatever. So the point is that you do have a choice. Now, if you are interested in dealing with someone that is going to hold your hand, that is going to walk you through the process, explain things to you, someone that you'll be able to talk on the phone, through the process, typically dealing with a local independent professional is going to be your best bet. And there are some places where you can go in and do some search to find out who can help you. So right below this video, I'm going to put a link to a national search link where you can put your zip code and find out who are the reputable independent brokers that you can actually look in your community that may be able to help you in every state in the United States, including Puerto Rico. So that's what happens prior to becoming pre-qualified. Now, once you selected who is going to help you, who is going to be your mortgage provider, then you are going to begin the qualification process. So typically, a mortgage provider is going to do two things. First, they're going to have a conversation with you and ask you some basic questions about yourself, your income. Are you looking to buy a primary home, secondary home? Is this your first home? Do you have down payment, etc.? And then they're going to put you through the process of application. Most likely, they're going to send you a link to an online application. We suggest that you take time, you fill it out step by step, check all your answers correctly, because whatever you put on that application is what that mortgage professional is going to use in order to get you qualified. So take your time, and if you have questions through the process, call that mortgage professional and say, hey, I don't know what to put in here. Don't ignore things, don't leave things blank, because then that eventually can come back and haunt you when you are in the process of getting your approval. So once you finish your application, you are going to give consent for that mortgage professional to run your credit and to be able to look into your situation. So they're going to run your credit and they're going to send you a list of paperwork you need to provide. Traditionally, income, bank statements, copy of your ID. If you are in the military, they're going to want to see some of that paperwork. If you have other homes that you already own, they're going to want to see paperwork on that. So they're going to send you a comprehensive list, provide the list to that provider, to that mortgage person, and then that person is going to be able to put together your credit and all the paperwork you provided and give you a pre-qualification. Now, one of the challenges that every mortgage person has is where to start. That's why you have to have a conversation with this mortgage person, because granted, we have your credit, we have your paperwork, it all looks good, but we have to ask you, well, how much down payment do you want to put in? Do you qualify for any special programs? Do you have anything in your past that may keep you from purchasing a certain way? So those are all things that you're gonna explain to your mortgage provider. He'll ask you questions, she'll ask you questions, and then you're gonna get pre-qualified. The pre-qualification is the initial step. That means that somebody has looked at your credit, at your income, your assets, and your situation, and according to that person, you are pre-qualified to purchase a home. Now, don't get confused. There's another step further that we call the pre-approval. A pre-approval is where an underwriter has looked at all that paperwork, and not only are you qualified to purchase the home, you're actually approved to purchase a home. Some lenders like to give you a pre-approval up front. Other lenders prefer to just give you a pre-qualification. And there are lenders that take it on a case-by-case basis. For example, let's say you have outstanding credit and you have plenty of down payment and you have no issues, you have low debt, everything looks great. Most likely that lender is going to extend you a pre-qualification, and then that's good enough to purchase a home. Other lenders, if you have challenges, if your credit's not quite perfect, if maybe your income is a little tight, or there are some issues with debt, some lenders are going to prefer to take the entire file, put it in front of an underwriter, and give you a full approval before you actually go out and start looking at homes. When you go out and start looking at homes, you're actually going to be looking at those particular houses with the intention of making an offer. What does that mean? Well, it's like going to purchase a TV at Costco. Some people go there just to look. But if you are going to Costco with the intention of actually purchasing a TV, well, you're gonna have to know what size you're looking for, what is your budget, where are you going to hang that TV, how are you gonna pay for it? Credit card, you're gonna pay cash. Same thing with a home. If you're gonna go out and just be a looky-loo and go look at open houses, you don't need much, just go look. But if you are looking at homes with the intention of purchasing a home and making offers, you need to know those things. You need to know your budget. You need to know which area you want to buy the home. You need to know what is your limit of qualification. So those things are important. That is the reason why we put such emphasis in the pre-qualification, the pre-approval process, because without it, you're going to have a challenge. You hear sometimes that people say, I fell out of escrow, or my so-and-so friend fell out of escrow. I can tell you that a lot of times, a big percentage of times, the reason people fall out of escrow, transactions don't go to completion, has to do with the fact that the pre-qualification or the pre-approval process did not get done accurately. People got rushed through that process. They made offer on houses, later to find out there was a problem with the income. There was a problem with the job. There was a problem with the credit. Those things have to be settled before you make offers, so you do not have this challenge. That's why working with a reputable mortgage professional is so important. Recently, I had a conversation with someone who had a qualification letter and they were getting ready to make offers. And I said, well, let me ask you, can you send me your paperwork so I can give you a second opinion? He says, well, I have to go dig it out. And I go, whoa. What do you mean we have to go dig it out? Didn't you just get pre-approved with someone else? Didn't you get pre-qualified with someone else? And he goes, yeah, but they didn't ask me for anything. They just made me fill out some stuff on the internet, and that's how I got my letter. So the reality is, that's not even a real pre-approval or a pre-qualification. That's really nothing. You're basically giving someone a letter to go make an offer on a house, and no one's taken the time to analyze the credit, look at the paperwork, calculate the income, look at the assets. This person literally went in, filled out the thing online, pushed the button, and now comes a letter. And now the realtor, it's in a bind because the realtor has to go make offers, not knowing whether that person is really qualified. So it came to us and we were able to get that fixed. So those are really, really important things. Now, once you are pre-qualified or pre-approving, you have a letter that you feel confident you can go make offers, that's at the point when you are going to start looking with your realtor. Now, we didn't really talk a lot about how to find a realtor. The reality is most people know a realtor. They already have someone in mind. But I will tell you this, when you select a realtor to help you purchase a home, especially if you are a first-time buyer, or if it's been a long time since you bought a home, or if you have a lot of questions, I can tell you finding the right realtor is very, very important. You don't know how often I get a phone call from a realtor that says, hey, I have a client, or I have an offer here and I'm considering it, but I have not done a lot of FHA transactions, or this is a VA loan, I've never done one of those, or things like that. Those are red flags for me. That means that this particular realtor doesn't have the experience to working with buyers that are new. A new buyer, first-time buyer, or someone who hasn't bought a home in a long time requires special attention and special education, and there are realtors that specialize in that. So one of the questions that I would ask a realtor as you go through the process is this: how many buyer transactions have you done in the last 6 months? How many have you done in the last year? If that number is 3 or 4 or 5, that could be a red flag. That means that this realtor is not experienced handling buyers. Do your homework. Make sure that you have someone that is well recommended, that knows what they're doing in terms of negotiating offers, etc., for first-time buyers. So once you select the realtor is going to communicate with your lender. Now this is important. It's important to connect the realtor and the lender so both of them together can talk about the strategy that they're going to use when you're making an offer. How much is this person qualified? How much down payment? How much deposit? How much closing costs are going to be needed in the transaction? Those are all questions that you need to know, that the realtor needs to know. And that's information they need in order to make the proper offer. The other thing to look for, especially in certain states, is to figure out, are there any special assessments on the homes that you're going to be looking at? Are there any homeowner association fees? Are there any land fees for lease? Are there any Mello-Roos or things like that? That's very popular here in California where taxes are high. That is all going to affect your qualification. For example, if you're pre-approved to purchase a home for $250,000, but then you go make an offer on a house that has a $300 HOA and flood insurance and high taxes, that approval may not be valid anymore. So you have to adjust it based on some of those circumstances: flood insurance, taxes, HOAs, etc. So those are all things that your realtor and your lender have to discuss alongside with you so you are prepared to make those offers. Once you have this information, you're going to go out and you start looking for homes. You start looking at homes, and that's the fun, exciting part. You're looking at kitchens and patios and pools and the size of the home, and you start picturing yourself, is this the house that I want my family to be in? Is this the house where I'm going to start my family? Is this the house where I'm going to raise my kids? Is this the house where I'm going to retire? I don't know. That's the dreaming part, is the fun part. But at the same time, you have to be mindful that as you go through the process, you also have to continue to be checking on payments. Rates are moving up and down. So if you were qualified for a certain amount last month, that number may be changing. And also, as you get closer to making an offer on certain homes, you're going to want to double check what the payment is on that home. So here's something I recommend to every buyer. Make sure that as you are looking at homes, if you're narrowing it down, let's say you narrow it down to 2 or 3 homes, take the address of those homes, take the amount that you're going to offer, call your mortgage person and say, hey, can you give me an exact payment on these 3 homes? You're going to find out that he's going to call you back and say, hey, this house has higher taxes, or hey, did you know that this house is in a flood zone and the payment is higher? Those are important things. So always check with your mortgage professional and get a payment refresh as you're getting ready to make those offers. I'll give you an example. I qualified people a couple of months ago that qualified for a certain amount, and then they went away. For whatever reason, they decided not to buy a home at that time. They were taking a break, they went on vacation, came back, they resumed the search, but they didn't tell me. So then they call me and say, hey, we need a letter. And I go, whoa, we got to rework this thing because interest rates change completely from the time you looked last time to now, so your amount may change. Now, we were very fortunate that we were able to still get him into a house, but never take it for granted that just because you got qualified a month or 2 or 3 ago, that payment's going to be the same or that the amount's going to be the same. So as you prepare to make your offers, your real estate agent is going to talk to your mortgage broker, prepare a letter. You're going to determine what your payment is going to be, how much your down payment is going to be, and how much in closing costs are going to be needed. Is the seller going to contribute to the closing costs or not? We don't know. That's something you're going to work out with your agent. And then you're going to make your offer. Once the offer is made, there's a negotiation process. A negotiation process is where you go back and forth with the seller through the agents and you negotiate. You get a counter offer, and then you get another counter back, Now, sometimes you make an offer, it gets accepted right away. Congratulations. That's hardly ever the case. The seller is always going to give you a counter offer, whether it's for price or terms. So you need to make sure that you read those counter offers correctly, follow the advice of your real estate agent, and once you finalize and you accept the final counter, or they accept your final counter, then you make a deposit into escrow and the transaction really begins. This is where the real process of buying the home or getting the loan done will begin. So again, this is an important first half. Think of all the steps that I just went through. We haven't even talked about the home inspection, the appraisal, the loan submission to the bank conditions, closing disclosure, signing your loan docs. That's what we're going to cover on part B of this video, but I wanted to give you a really specific breakdown of the first part, which is, getting pre-qualified, finding a realtor, finding the right mortgage broker, and then the house hunting process. As always, hit subscribe, share the video with anybody you want. We love having you here at the First Time Buyer channel, and we hope to see you very soon with part 2 of the How Do I Buy a Home process. Have a great day.